So yeah, we're trying to do once or twice a week, just for the content and just I really want to help realtors kind of get out of their being nervous.
Yeah.
So they don't really like. We're like, well, this is the camera, and like we just hit record, right?
Yeah.
And so when I would hit record, they're like, so
I've done it too. I've tried to record some videos, and it's weird. You can't help it.
Yeah.
Then you watch it back and you're like, what? Why am I doing that?
Yeah.
As soon as you stand in front of that, yeah.
And as soon as they tell you, hey, we're live, then you're just like,
yeah.
Okay, and then your voice changes, how you talk. I'm like, what's going on? So I try to help my realtors, like, hey, just relax, it's casual. But thanks for joining me.
Oh no,
I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Tell the people who you are. Don't go into like big details. Just the 15-second version, because then I want to like get stuff out.
Okay, yeah, sure, yeah. So I'm Gareth Davies. Honestly, I grew up just doing martial arts my whole life, right? So that's what I did. I turned that into a business when I was 20. So that's what I did for the first 10 years. And then I met my wife, who is from Vegas. So that's how I ended up being here. And then wanted to transition. So real estate seemed like something that I could transition into. And that's kind of where how I've ended up here, really. So, yeah.
We were just talking before we hit play where Gareth Davies is not very common in Wales.
Yeah, and that's every other person you meet is basically
I think it makes sense, because I know, like, I swear I know at least 15 people that are from the UK who are Gareth.
Yep. It's just a popular name, popular name in Wales, and then kind of like, I guess Garrett is the version here,
Garrett, Garrett.
Everyone calls me Garrett here, but
So let's start off. How'd you get into martial arts? Who got you into it? How did that happen?
Full disclosure, right? And it sounds silly now, but I just wanted to be a Ninja Turtle. Like, literally, I watched it and I was like, that looks so cool.
That's awesome.
The pizza. So no, but true story. Like, that really is what kind of got me hooked into. And then my granddad used to box.
Okay.
I don't think my dad was too keen for me to
box. Yeah.
To box. Wanted to keep my nose straight-ish.
Yeah.
But
polished.
So I just saw a demonstration one time, and I was like, I just nagged my dad over and over again, to be like, I just want to go and do that. And then that was it, really. And I just loved it.
What martial arts specifically, or is it all of it?
So it was taekwondo originally. Like in England, that was what kind of everyone did. It was kind of karate or taekwondo.
Mm-hmm.
I think taekwondo was a bit more open to like kids at that time, because I was 6.
Okay.
And again, when I went to my first class, 13 I think we're still friends now. Like the guy that he was 13.
Jeez.
So I was like just thrown in at the back, and kind of I think they would hope I would quit, right? We don't really want like a kid here,
slowing us down.
So but I just loved it. So that was that. And then my instructor at the time was pretty open-minded, not like too set in stone with what we should be doing. So we did some offshoots, and we kickboxed. So I kickboxed for a long time, and then into my teens I kickboxed, and then I did some jiu-jitsu later down the line as well. So kind of did a bit of everything.
So you did a bit of everything, and then when did you say, okay, I want to make this my career, I want to open up my own gym?
Do you know what? It was like it was just always there for me, really. Like I used to help out like teaching in class when I was like 12.
Yeah.
And it just like careers class at at high school, when they're like you should be thinking about what you're going to do. It was just that, really. I was like, do you know what? I really just want to start my own martial arts business. And I thought everyone think I was crazy back then, because like then it was everyone got a job, right? Everyone went to college. In England, it was college and then university, or they got a job, right? They went to be a mechanic or a electrician or a plumber, or they knew they wanted to be a lawyer or attorney, so they went. Like everyone had their kind of route set out for school, and I was like, I think I'm going to set up a martial arts business, and everyone was like, all right, Gareth, like, why don't you look at, maybe what about being a police officer? That might be good, if you're into that kind of thing. And then honestly, so I went to college, which is kind of like the last few years of high school here, but it's separate in England.
Okay.
And I went for like 3 months, and I just
wasn't your thing.
I just didn't, it was okay, and I'd picked some subjects that I was like keen to do, but they kind of make you do extra, so I was doing like a media studies class that I wasn't really that fussed about, and I just got offered a role. It was kind of like a franchise basically, so I took over a group of students.
Nice.
And ran it kind of like a franchise, where I was getting a percentage of what that small business did, and then it just kind of went from there really. So I was doing that kind of in my late teens, and then when it was 20, the owner of the business actually moved to the US, and I was running it again, kind of the whole business as a franchise. And I was just like, one day I was like, I think I just want to take it over, So we had a conversation, and my parents lent me some money to purchase the business, which I'm very grateful for. And that was it. So I took over that business. I had probably about 100 members at the time, and then just went from there really.
So in its prime, what was the most members you ever had?
We had 1,000 members.
Wow.
It was actually big. I'm from a small place, right?
Yeah.
200,000 people. Like it was, we had 450 active kid memberships, 200 and something adults, like 225 at the peak. And then we did like school activities where we would go and teach at individual local schools. And again, had like another, 300 in there. So yeah, about 1,000 members, which was...
That's a lot.
It's big for a gym type business in a town that has 200,000 people, with a lot of other, there was a lot of martial arts and that there as well. It was really good. It was, and I didn't feel like I worked, because it was like it was my hobby, really.
When you sold it, were you already living in the States, or?
So obviously I met my wife here. I was back and forth a lot. It's tricky to run that business because I was very hands-on.
Yeah.
So I was there all the time doing the classes, etc. So I was doing some back and forth, and then COVID hit, and I had a flight booked out to come to the US by accident. So I got on the plane. I got to the airport. They were like, "You can't travel." I'm like, "No, I can." Like, "Oh no, you can't travel." So spoke to a manager. He was like, "Well, you can still travel, but you're basically going to get stuck." So I kind of spoke to my staff, and the people that I worked with, and was like, "Look, I'm going to go and be with my fiance. It's probably going to last a month, right, at the most." 3 months, 3 months later, So I'm kind of speaking to an attorney, like, "Do I have to go home?" He's like, "You have to go home," But so that kind of happened, and then I continued to kind of help, and I know oversee it, but it was tough, because the business was shut for 18 months. We couldn't have in-person classes,
That's
so we
crazy.
I was running Zoom lessons from my loft here in Vegas at midday, or which is early hours of the morning, which was like lunchtime back home. So it was kind
crazy.
of so we did that, and then one of the guys that had taught with me for a long time, was kind of like my second in command, really. Took it over, and I wouldn't have wanted anyone else to have done that, really. So it worked out really well, So I was able to kind of transition away, and then I actually only sold that business about 18 months ago at the end of 2024.
Okay.
So he took it over, and that was that, really. And I'd obviously transitioned into real estate, so I'd done a couple of years kind of learning the process of things here. And then that kind of worked. That there was that transition of, okay, now I've not got that anymore. There's not a safety net of anything.
I gotta go.
So that's kind of, and obviously then the last 2 years have been. It's funny how that works out, right? When you've got no backup plan, then the last 2 years have been really good. So yeah.
Talk a little bit, because I know I heard the story already, so I want you to go into more detail on your flight like from the beginning when you got on the flight, how weird it was.
Yeah. So like the full story is we actually had planned to get married in Italy, and so it's the last day that I can fly. So I get on the full flight. Boeing 747. Big plane. What was that? Seats 400 people. There were 27 people, and there were 2 people with an English passport, right? So they're kind of saying, well, I wouldn't be going if I were you. And like they're asking me why I'm going. I'm like, hey, look, like my fiance's there, right? So I'm only going to get stuck in my house in England. She's going to get stuck here. So so I get on the plane. I actually sleep for the first 5 hours or so, and then I wake up and the tannoy goes off, and it's like, oh, we're going to be like re-land. We're going to land in Chicago rather than Vegas. And I'm like, so now, I speak to the air host. I'm like, why are we doing that? She's like, oh, I don't know. I think like somebody needs to we need to check somebody's like records, because I think they've they're trying to get into the country when they shouldn't be getting into the country. I'm thinking, that's me. Like, is that me? Like they told me. Like,
what's the name of this person?
Yeah. So I'm like kind of nervous, and so anyway, we land, and police officers come on in hazard suits. So I can see them like walking towards me down the, and I'm just thinking like, oh, I'm going to the quarantine center, right? Like I'm literally going to be in a, So, and luckily they walked past me, and what happened was there was an American family coming back, but they had been in Spain. So you weren't allowed to travel from Europe, but you were allowed to travel from the UK still. Europe got shut off like a week earlier or a few days earlier. So what they had thought they would do was, if we fly to England and don't tell anyone, we'll jump on the plane back home, we're all good.
Yep.
Because there were only 27 people on the plane, they checked everyone's so they looked that they had kind of they were trying to cheat the system. So they got taken to get checked. So we got off the plane. They made us wait for a couple of hours, then we got back on the same plane, and obviously we ended up getting here, which was good. But the funniest thing about the story though was 2 seats behind me, because they had separated us all out. So 2 rows behind me was another English guy that was coming to be with his family. And as I'm walking back, I say something to the air hostess, and he hears my accent. He's like, "Oh, so you're also from England. Like, why are you coming to the US?" So I explained, and he was like, "Did you think it was game over when the police were coming on?" And it was so funny to me, because I was 2 rows in front of him, so we were literally going through the same thing.
Like,
so it was, I had the relief, and then he's thinking, so it was funny. But
that's awesome.
It worked out in the end. It worked out in the end. So,
and then you guys got married, right?
We did, yeah.
Okay.
So again, we didn't end up doing the Italy thing, but it was kind of a little bit last minute, really. But it worked out.
It was legit. Because I know that's what your attorney had said, right? Something like
because I mean, if you're not allowed to move, like I don't think you're allowed to come to like with the intention of getting married without the correct visa.
Yes.
So obviously because I hadn't done that, it kind of it kind of worked out how it was supposed to, I think.
When in that process did you get licensed?
During COVID.
Okay.
So I was still running like doing some work kind of back in the UK, obviously from here.
Yeah.
And I'd always been interested in real estate. My uncle used to do some commercial stuff back in the day. So I'd go and see those units as a kid and things like that. So I kind of always been interested in it. Thought I had friends that were agents back in the UK. So I kind of thought it would be a good. It's a people business, as a service based, kind of not similar, but also similar to what I was doing. So I thought it could be a good transition. So I just did I got my license literally online during COVID.
That's awesome.
So I just thought it was something to do, and I thought worst case, I'll get the license, see what happens. So that was kind of the first thing really, was just to fill a little bit of that time during COVID when we were all, stuck inside, not able to do much really. So,
we chatted, I believe, last time you were here about realtors in the UK.
Yep.
And you said, well, people don't really need them. They're just there as like a.
Yeah, I mean, it's
different.
It's just a different process, because you don't need a license, So I just think you just need to add value. That's all, But I do think it can be. You really do need to put the same as here really, but you can't
you can't lock them into like a BBA over there, right? It's just like they can leave at any time.
So I mean, you have to be adding value for somebody to
And you like,
you know.
you were saying you like legit have to go out and find the properties. There's nothing like listed.
Yeah, again, there kind of is, and there's a lot of there are like real estate companies, that are individual companies
Yeah.
in different areas. But it's just a really different model
Yeah.
to here, in terms of let's say you do have to have some of the documents signed by an attorney, lawyer, whatever it is, so you do kind of have to. So you could bypass easier, if that makes sense. So if you're not adding any value, there's no point in somebody.
So let me just go to the attorney directly.
Yes, yeah. However, there are still a lot of agents, and they do still do well. But like, I don't think you can. It's not a. You can't get a license and you're in. If you don't know what you're doing, it's not. It's not. Gonna, it's not just going to work out that well for you.
That makes sense. Man, it's kind of harsh then. Like,
no,
because you can work with.
Business.
I mean, technically here in the States, you can work with somebody and they could just leave you, right? Like, oh, I don't want you to be my realtor anymore. And you're like, well, I have your BBA. Well, okay, I'm not going to buy with you though.
Yeah.
So it's
and even with that, like, I feel like it's like it's still cancelable, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's one that's ever really been reinforced when someone said like, "Hey, well, you're not doing what I want you to do."
You're stuck with me.
Yeah, I don't know how. I've heard it said a few times. People are like, well, I'll enforce it. I'm just like, I don't know if that it's still weird. Their choice, right?
Yeah,
like it's still their choice. So them. Or they could just wait until the
6 months, right?
or negotiable. It's negotiable, right? So I've even seen somewhere like this for certain properties. Like there's a section on there, when you can.
Wow.
You can,
okay.
So say somebody was coming from out of state, maybe you've got a small relationship, they want to test it out. You could put a shorter time frame on it and then renew it. Or you could say, right, we're going to go and view these 5 properties.
Yeah.
You can do those. So there's a few ways that you can do it. It doesn't have to be
like a year, 6 months, whatever it is.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
What's been your since going full time, or not that you weren't full time, but since the sale of your business, and now fully like, okay, I have no like cushion now.
Yep.
What's been like the most, I would say the most difficult part? What's been?
I think for me if I base it back to my old business, it was monthly memberships.
Yep.
So somebody quits. You lose a couple of $100 a month, right? 150, 200, depending on what membership they're on. $100, whatever it is. It's not a big thing to. Here you get very close to completing a deal where, it can be a substantial amount, and that doesn't come through. And then also the consistency. So even like last year for me, I did basically all of my deals in the first 6 months of the year. I did absolutely nothing for 6 months. Now I'm lucky that it was quite a lot of. There was quite a lot of deals, but I think making sure that you're just ready for that,
for the dry months, if there are.
Because and so I think for me, like moving and literally knowing nobody, it wasn't like I lived here a long time and I transitioned to real estate. So maybe I've got some other business acquaintances or partners or friends that could potentially use me in a different context. I didn't have any of that,
from scratch.
The consistency for me has been, it was very much, I think, like my first year, I did not do a deal, and then it was, I always had like one deal going on, so it was like one deal that, okay, finish that one up, then the next one, and then year 3 was I had a couple of times, but I've got 2 or 3 things going on, and now it's getting to that point where I've got a more constant, they might not all be closings right now, but we're working through the process to, and I think then that, that changes it a lot, but I always expected it to take 5 years for me, to be honest. That was in my head. I was thinking like, okay, there's an opportunity here, but it's not going to be get a license and then, everything's
you're going to become a millionaire.
Everything's great. Yeah. I knew it would take some time. So yeah.
And you are, what's the brokerage you're with?
I'm with Virtue.
Virtue. And why'd you, out of all the brokerages, why are you there right now?
I like that it's kind of a smaller boutique brokerage is kind of how I would describe it. I like the people there. I like Darren, the broker. I work in a small team with Bill, and Bill's there. Bill's known Darren for a long time.
Yeah.
So I kind of lean on their expertise a little bit on that. And I just like that. I feel that they just know the local market really well. That's my take on it. And it's I work from home a lot. full disclosure, I don't go into the office that much, so it's, but I think there's a good level of support, I've run a business basically my whole life. I know what I need to do, right?
Yeah.
I don't need someone to hold my hand or tell me to be in the office at 11 o'clock. That's never what I was looking for.
Yeah.
I don't need I'm disciplined enough to structure what, what I need to do. But when I need the support or when something is not going right, that they're there to, to help out and make sure things go right. Yeah.
I love that. And so, okay, now this year you said you were trending up. It's looking like a good year.
Yep.
What's the goal this year? Do you is that, because for the martial arts, you probably were like, okay, we want X amount of subscriptions this month. We want to do X amount this quarter. And this year we want to do X, right? So do you go into it with that same strategy? Like, hey, I want to do 10, 15 units.
Yeah. For me, I always have personal goals for myself. But really, I think what is, since I've not had that business, I was probably a little bit kind of I'll keep doing what I'm doing and it will come. Where I think the last couple of years I've been a bit more active, just to just have more touch points with people. Yeah. Whether that is hosting more open houses or whatever it is. That was always my main thing that I did, but I've kind of upped the volume of everything just to. The only thing I need to change is I just need to meet more people.
Yeah.
I think the process I've got is working well. I think I'm doing a good job. And the people that I'm working with, I've had a good level of referrals from the people that that I've worked with in the past. So I think that part's good.
Yeah.
I think the process is pretty good. I can probably tighten up a little bit as I get more clients, but really for me it was I then need more of that. So how do I? My main goal was to I just need to be in front of more people.
Yeah.
I need to meet more people. I need to, and I, to begin with, for me again, I'm in year 4 of real estate. For me, I still like it as a personal touch point. We spoke that I think I need to do more social media and all those things, but I kind of see that as a secondary to actually, I want to meet people because I think that's kind of where I'm best. So just being in more places to do that, and I think that's kind of where
the goal.
Yeah, my goals were,
And plus, you have the English accent, so
it helps.
It helps. We were talking about that where I asked you, do people take you not more seriously, but do they think more of you because obviously the English accent is where it all comes from, right? It's okay, English and you're proper, and so do you find it being a little bit easier because you it's kind of oh man, this guy sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's funny because in England my accent is so boring and so neutral, it's not really, it's not a posh accent, it's not it's just smack bang in the middle, so it's not like I don't even know if anybody in England would know what part of the country I'm from, where sometimes there's an accent you're oh, they're from there.
Yeah.
Mine's super neutral. So for it to be here is just kind of funny, funny to me. I've been in the US kind of 7, 8 years now, and still every week there's someone oh, I like your accent, and I'm what? So it's still funny that kind of happens. But I just think it I think it helps. I think when people are looking for a property and they're going to open houses on their own, right? How many agents are they meeting? I think it helps to be recognizable a little bit. If I leave somebody a voice note or whatever, it's just, oh, that was that guy.
Yeah, the English guy.
And so I do think that helps, and I do think it sparks some conversations sometimes, rather than it just being all about real estate.
Yeah.
They've been to London, or they've got family from England, or whatever that is. I think that just helps to break the ice a little bit. And if I sound more intelligent, then that's good.
I've always thought man, English people sound very intelligent. Even the ones that are a bit ghetto.
Yeah.
They still sound even more intelligent than the ones here. I don't know. I've always been a fan of, since football.
Yeah. Yep.
I've always been a fan of the accent.
Yeah.
And then we have friends that are from the UK, so man, that's a cool accent.
Do you know what? It's so funny though, because I think people in England probably think the same about American accents, right? Because we just want what's different.
Yes.
So as soon as
they tell us that too.
Yeah. So I think it's just sometimes what's what's different. Or what's different from what we have. So yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I would ask my friends like, "Hey, do your best American accent," and it's always like a Valley Girl accent. Like, "Oh my God, yes, for real." I'm like, that's what you think of Americans when you like, that's what I will hear on TV.
I always love when like someone I've met for the first time like speaks back to me like in my accent, like that's like I'm like that's actually pretty offensive. It's kind of funny though, I'm like it's kind of rude. But,
it's like talking to somebody with like a Chinese accent. It's like, wait a minute.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I know they're trying to like be friendly, but it is always kind of funny to me when I'm like.
If you really think about
it, I did that when I met you, and I was like, it's actually kind of like
I've never thought about it like that.
So it's but it is like a thing,
true,
because obviously they hear it in movies and stuff, right? So they've all, so it is quite funny how that happens.
I've never thought about it like that. It is. Like if you think about it with any other accent, African.
I'm not even going to do an impression because it would be rude, right? Exactly. So it's kind of funny,
Wow.
But
Okay, man. So
I'm not easily offended, so it's not.
Good,
but it is funny to me.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Do you know what you just did right now? Okay, guys, don't do that stuff, please, man. Bro, so thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on, sharing a little bit about your story and what you're doing. I always like to leave the last, 30 seconds to a minute. How can people reach you? Where can they find you online, social media? Anything that you want to share, it's your time.
Yeah, no, on this one, I mean, again, directly, obviously, through, email or cell phone, I should call it. We call it mobile in England. I was going to call it email. What are you talking about? Yeah, exactly. And then really Instagram is my, is my main kind of social platform that I use for kind of anything really, which is just _ Gareth Davis or Davies.
Davies,
So yeah.
And phone number? What's phone number?
702-354-3787.
And email?
Gareth@virtuelre.com.
Perfect. There you guys have it. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me by.
I won't do any more English accents to new English people that I know. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for having me. Thanks.